Hello, educators, parents, and friends. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And I am Dr. Blissful. I am here to give you tips and tricks on elementary education. I am also the author of the book, Breaking Free of Bullying, where I provide strategies for your kiddos and you to stay safe, happy, and emotionally healthy. If you are a returning guest, Shaka and how's it? I got my Shaka shirt on today, Shaka Life. And today I am blissfully blessed. So I've got some really sad news today from a friend who had a stroke and a very severe one where they are having to learn to walk again. And um, yeah, really, really overwhelming news. And it just reinstates my feeling of being blessed and having gratitude and being thankful for my health and my mind and my education and my ability to share everything that I know about teaching and more with you. So, if you do anything today, make sure that you at least take a moment, 10 seconds, to say one thing that you're thankful for. Okay, last time we were talking about manners in the airport. So, to continue that conversation, my girlfriend and I were at a restaurant. And lo and behold, there were kids in the restaurant, and it was right here on Main Street. If those of you that live in Southern California in Orange County, I live in Seal Beach, and we have Main Street right here. It was just a nice little fun Mexican place that we like to hang out. But it's old style, so there's like a long booth beside one of the walls, right? So we're on the other side at a table, but they have, where you have those tables and then you have that long booth. And sure enough, there must have been, I think, it wasn't even a toddler. I think one was 4, the other one might have been 5 or 6, running back and forth on this bench against the wall. And I was sitting where I had a clear view, and it was driving me insane. I couldn't even enjoy my meal because I was so focused on those kids, and I was so irritated that the parents weren't doing anything that I couldn't enjoy my food. So, one of two things. First of all, why am I giving away my power to allow that nuisance to infiltrate my dining experience with my girlfriend? And the other thought is, you know, where is the modicum of sensitivity in terms of the other diners? We don't want, it's not a playground. It's not the park. It's not Disneyland. So if it was at Disneyland and they're bouncing around off the walls, I can get that. You're excited, you're seeing the characters, but there's a time and place for everything, in my opinion. So I really want to get your feedback on what your thoughts on for that. So I didn't tell the waitress. I pretty much just bitched and complained to my girlfriend as we're sitting across from each other, and I kept saying, "Oh, now they're doing this," and like giving them a play-by-play. Again, giving away my power. So in that instance, I'm not really sure if I should have just started drinking to numb the pain of my eyeball awareness, or, just try to maybe turn my body, maybe get up, go to the bathroom. I don't know. I needed to do something because in that moment, I was really highly irritated. And then I was irritated because I realized that I allowed that experience to change my mood. And that pissed me off even more because why am I wasting my time with these strangers? They don't give a care. They're having a good old time. Parents drinking, having a good old time. They don't give a care. The only one that it was bothering was me. So I'd love your suggestions and feedback as to what you would do in that situation or how you handle it. Because, yeah, I don't think I handled it too well. They left soon after, thank goodness. But I really had to reflect because, again, I know in my other sessions I've talked about how controlling I am, especially when it comes to kids. And, the whole should, when you should people, well, they should know better. They should have respect. They should be considerate. They should be polite. And, it's not funny to me. It's like I'm a paying customer as well. I want to see your bloody kids running up and down the bloody booth, with their filthy shoes and their sand, because it's coming from the beach. Anyhow, so that's my ranting and raving for this afternoon. So let's go ahead and continue with our lesson from the last session. Okay, so if memory serves, we were talking about third grade through fifth grade in sight word ability and starting their journals and meeting those standards. So I'm going to go ahead. I looked at the standards for third, fourth, and fifth grade, and I tried to create a lesson around those standards while really allowing those kids that are struggling to build on their sight word capability. And this is what I came up with. And actually, this comes from a student that I had a couple years back, and it kind of I don't know why I remembered it. It was really different, and so I'm going to use it as an example. What I do with it. So it was journal writing, and I said yesterday we talked about write 3 things that you like to do and write 3 things that you know how to do, so you can explain it, right? So this kid picked skateboarding, and I dictated the story. So it says yesterday I went to skateboard. I can grind and do tricks. My friends can jump and slide and flip. I he said watched YouTube videos to learn more stunts. So again, you are going to write it on a piece of paper. I can't remember if he drew about it first or he just wrote it and I rewrote it. I can't really remember. But again, we're going to do the gradual release where, or RTI, response to intervention. I do it, you watch and listen. The second is we do it together. And the third is you do it, I watch and listen. So I do it, you, and then I usually have them repeat. So I do it, you, and they should say watch and listen. Yesterday, I went to skateboard. I can grind and do tricks. My friends can jump and slide and flip. I watched YouTube videos to learn more stunts. Now, as you noticed, I wrote watched, but when I read it, I said it the correct way. So again, we're not pointing out the mistakes, okay? But when I reread it, I'm going to say it properly. Another note is I read the whole thing. So again, as we are responding to intervention in terms of differentiating, it will depend on the student and you know your child best. But if you're a teacher, it may be that reading the whole story at once may be overload. So it's kind of trial and error. So if I read the whole thing, right? And then when we read it together, if she's unable to get past that first line, then it was too much. It was overload. So you want to deconstruct, you want to bring it back a little and just do sentence by sentence. So I do it, you watch and listen. So the first time, yes, I might do this. Yesterday, I went to skateboard, or I might do 2 sentences. Now let's do it together. Yesterday, I went to skateboard. Then now you do it and I watch and listen. So they would repeat. So depending on where they're at and their level and their comfortable ability is going to determine which way you go. So again, if it's too overwhelming for them, or if you see them going, or doing this, just say, no, no worries. We'll just start over again and we'll break it down more. So again, your gradual release, I do it, you watch and listen, we do it together, you do it, I watch and listen. So then we want to work on our penmanship. And I think a couple of episodes of channels ago, I talked about Governor Newsom requiring or putting into law that I'm not sure where it starts, but I'll research it and put it in the comments. That penmanship, handwriting is handwriting is now going to be required, and good handwriting. I do it this way, but there's the Disneyland that's really popular right now. You might want to ask your child's teacher if they have the Disneyland program, because the way they print lends itself more to handwriting. So what I probably should do as an educator is stray away more from this old style printing to a more Disneyland, which I'm not familiar with. So I'll have to do some practice on my own and start writing Disneyland to foster that development of handwriting. Okay, so penmanship to handwriting. Now, we talked about also the next step. So after they traced your writing, and so I'm glad I caught myself. So I'm going to use more of a Disneyland printing. Then we talked about the flashcards, and if the students are higher level, you don't have to put every single word in the dictation on flashcards. So what I did here, and I'm really bummed that I use this color pen because it's not coming out very brightly, which stinks. So I'll try to push it closely to the camera. So again, we have yesterday, I went to skateboard, and there's a period at the end. I can grind and do tricks, period. And that's it. You said more than that, but this, for the purposes of this lesson, you're going to understand what the goal is here. Now, we talked about the standards for the different grade levels. So one of the grade level standards was really the verb tenses. So what in the pre-K through third, we had a sight word yesterday, right? And then I would say, okay, give me a sentence with yesterday in it, right? And then we'd write the sentence on the back. That's for very low level foundational skill building for the kiddos that aren't at this level yet. Because this third grader wrote and dictated a story, first, we don't need to do that because we know he can put together sentences. So we're with the standard in the verb tensors. What I did on the back is I put yesterday I went, ... Today I go, ... Tomorrow I will go, ... So you could do it one of two ways. You can just have them do it orally, or you can say, okay, now I want you to write 3 sentences using this prompt as a starter. Okay, so you're building that standard, and even though it's basic and it's sight word flashcard activity, you're still justifying it by meeting that standard for that student. So it's modified, and you have that response to intervention, or rather that differentiation. That's a big one, DII, right? DI, differentiated instruction. So you're meeting those standards. Now, the next one is I went to. So again, with the standard of the verb tenses, I went ahead at the top and put go, went, will go. And then I put blank I went to, blank, I go, and blank, I will go. And then at the bottom, I put the choices. So they can either write it in their journal or they can just put the word here that matches the verb tense and then finish the sentence off. The next one is skateboard. So skateboard is a compound word. Compound words are, I think, presented at the end of kindergarten, and they go full force in first grade, but they also do it in second grade. So if you have a third, fourth, and fifth grader who's a little bit behind, it is okay to review. Do you know what kind of word this is? If they do, if they know that it's a compound word, then you know, okay, this child is really at grade level or above. Okay, so tell me some more compound words. And then they'll tell you, rainbow, basketball, so on and so forth, baseball. If they don't know, then on the back, you have an activity. So I broke up some compound words on the back, and then they can just draw a line from the first part of the word to the second part of the word. And then they can rewrite it in the journal or do a new sentence in their journal. And they don't have to do all of them. You can say, oh, pick two that you like and write a sentence. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but again, we want to give them options. Every time you empower your child by giving them options, they take ownership of their learning, they feel good about their learning, and they feel in control. Because we all want to be in control, right? The next one is I can. And I left that blank so that they can write about something else they can do. Or you could just do it orally because they know that really well. Next one is grind. Another key component is rhyming, and rhyming and spelling go together. So on the back, I just put grind. Then I put, what did I put? Find. And then I put bull. And then 3 lines, like hangman. So they should put IND. You should be able to put bull, find together. Ind, ind. If they're not able to do that, that means that their phonemic awareness is low. And that's when you want to write yourself a note if you're a teacher. Okay, Carlos cannot blend together. So he can sight word read, which is just kind of a memory thing, but he's not able to formulate the letters and their sounds and string them together to make a word. So that is a really good opportunity. I like formative assessments like these little games, cards, because you can find out where they're at. So if they can't blend and put these together, we need to take a couple of steps back, and we'll talk more about that. One easy way to do it, you can do I, d, mind. W, ah, d, wind. B, ooh, I, blind. That one might be too much, especially if they're not able to go ahead and put those together. Some teachers do this with the not writing hand. They'll say, I, find. Whatever works for you. Some use counters. Some some are more tactile. Whatever works for you is what you should use. But really, actually, whatever works for the child is whatever they feel comfortable. That's what you should use. Now, if they're high level and they whiz through it and they can read them all really quickly, fabulous. Go ahead and pick 2 words that you like and write a sentence. And then we have and do. Now, another standard is homophones and homographs. So I have the word and do. So I'm going to use the word do, and on the back you'll notice that I have the homophones written. Do, do, and do. Then I have new. What's the other here? This is the here, I hear you. Do you know what the other here is? See if they can tell you what it is. And if they can, you can write it. If they can't, again, got to okay, this student is really, sometimes you'll get those kiddos that read like a champ. They're reading fourth and fifth grade and they know all these sight words and whatnot. But then when it comes to deconstructing standards, they're missing it. So that's when you have to backtrack and say, okay, we need more work in this area. And then what's the homophone for sun? It should be sun in the sky, right? And then what's the other word for sea in the ocean? I can see you. Then we have homographs. If a child is struggling, I would just do one section for a day. And then maybe once they get this, then go on to the next, which is homographs. So you have bow, a bow on your head, and bow. I bow to you. So we have read. I can read my book. Yesterday I read my book. So it could be read or read. Same thing, lead or led. And finally, don't sit so close to me or close the door. So again, you have a lesson within a lesson. And the lessons that I have on these cards are based on the standards. So if you're a new teacher, be creative and work, do whatever works for you, but also the standards are going to dictate uh, where the learning is going to be. So it's a little bit easier when you have the same grade level because you're just focusing on those standards. When you're an interventionist or a reading specialist like me, and I have 3 children of different grade levels, it gets a little bit more tricky. But again, 3 students, different standards, tricky, but then you have, 30 kids, so tricky as well. And then finally we have tricks, and then we do the rhyming words on the back, and of course spelling. And can you come up with any more? And that also is a formative assessment that will determine where your kiddo is at. And that is our lesson for today. If you have any questions or buts, concerns, comments, go ahead and write that into the comment section. If you like that lesson, please, what is that called? Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. And again, just be grateful for today and that you have your health and your mind. It's almost New Year's, so let's ring in that new year, being thankful and blessed for all we have. Until next time, Shaka, and stay blissfully blessed.